Good evening. So I just saw Rahuf. I'm hoping I'm saying your now name correctly. That you made this comment, and it's just made my day. Like really, really appreciate you, and also that you actually take your time to write a comment. And you're telling me I appreciate your insight. They seem generally helpful. Could you share more about the strategies that you discuss in the video to improve interpersonal skills and positivity? So this was the video, and I was speaking about just being more energetic as a person, just like how to develop yourself as a person. So everything I learned, I don't want to take credit from this. I learned this from this book. I just found it right now. And the biggest, you can go read it yourself, but the biggest insights. Let me just take a little paint here because I really like to explain while I'm drawing something. So for me to become so all my life I have been very shy. I would say not really outgoing and being very introverted. I had been believing my whole life that I was introverted, and I actually believed since till I was like 17 that I would never, ever in my entire life, I actually believed this, that I would never have a girlfriend. Like nobody could ever love me because I was so introverted and so afraid of the world and so afraid of also women in general. But then I got actually a girlfriend when I was 17, 18. But at that point, something clicked, and I realized that I was not introverted. It was just something I have been speaking to myself over and over again, so I actually believed it. And here in the last 2 or 3 years, I just have grown so much in the self-development space, and also just developing my brain and my mindset around being social. So I remember when I first read this book like 1.5 years ago, I was just doing everything in it. It was so funny. And the biggest thing, there's a lot of good things I think I'm going to share with like 3 or 4 with you. But the biggest thing that I have learned ever in this book, like it's the best thing ever, is actually being interested in other people. And really, there's not tricks and tricks how to do this, but of course there is. But actually, if you just have the intention that you are genuinely interested in the other person that's sitting opposite of you, and you're actually speaking with that person. And if you're actually interested, this will just come naturally. Because when you're interested, right, you tend to ask a lot of questions. And this is not about you. This is not about you. You are asking questions to another person. And when they are answering these questions, this is key. Because now you need again, because you have been in a conversation where people are just asking a question, but you can see in their eyes, they don't give a shit about you. They couldn't care less what answer that you are giving them. So the real thing here is that you answer, their answer, you actually, and this is big, this is key, but people miss this. You actually listen. You actually listen to them. Now, you're not only listening, waiting for the next thing you need to say. You are actually listening to them. So you ask questions about their life. Oh, okay, you're doing engineering. Okay, that sounds interesting. How is your work? And they're like, blah, blah, blah. They explain this. The work is very great. And you're like, you said it was very great, but then you also seemed like you didn't really like it. And they're like, what? Because you listened. You didn't just go ahead and be like, oh, okay, they answered my question, now I can ask the next question and just go about it. No, you actually listen. So this is how you start a great conversation. Because then they answer something, and you listen to them. And you probably have a question for that again. So for example, a lot of conversation, 99% of people are so bad at this. Because I am having a conversation with people a lot, and they are like, oh, I seen you, they ask me this. So they're like, oh, I seen you start a business. How is it going? And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. A person actually interested in what I have to say. So I begin to tell about how is it going and how difficult it is and blah, blah, blah. And I can just see their eyes like fade. I can just see like they're not even listening to me. They're just waiting for the next thing they have to say. And I tend to just die that situation because those like that conversation, I just seem to let it die out because they're not interested. They're just asking politely and they're not even listening to you. They're actually thinking more about, okay, what do I need to say next? And they're not actually actively listening. Because when you're listening, for example, when people are asking me for my business and I actually explain them, and they're like, okay, how did you do that? Like, how did you start without any practice? How did you just find out you want to start a business? And I'm like, oh shit. And they're like, oh, what tactic are you using to getting customers? And I'm like, oh, that seems hard. I'm like, yeah. How are you keep doing this? See, like that's an interesting conversation you're having because they're listening to you. So this is the biggest part whenever you're having actually go out, have a conversation where you're actually listening to the people, the person you're sitting towards. Because you will have such great conversations and you learn so much. And the guy, like, because 99% of people are not doing this, he will remember you. Because when you're doing all of this, in their mind, you are a good person. Like they like you. Because you took the time and you actually listened to them. And people in general in our life just wants to be listened to. You probably can know this yourself, that you're like, oh, it was so nice to speak with this person, and they probably only listened and asked good questions. So next time you're going around, stop babbling about yourself. No one fucking cares. Go out and actually make the other person feel good. Because here, the genuine conversation, the good conversations will come to you. And if you keep doing this, building relationships, building that people find you're a good person, they will come to you and ask for your advice. They will ask for your help. They will all of this because in their mind, you're a great person. So when you're in a conversation, fuck what you want to say. No, be interested in them. This is so key. Maybe this will become a long video, but I'm just gonna make it because this is a very interesting topic and I have been so bad at my whole life. I've always been like, when I actually go and went over and like, how is school? I would just be thinking about the next question, not really like actually listening to what people are saying. And then a second one that is very easy. Smile. Smile. Just look happy. People tend to be around people that are happy because it creates energy. So smile when you're in a conversation, when you're around, instead of being like this. Also, when I'm speaking to you guys, I'm like smiling. You can see I'm like happy to speak about this. So just smile. A lot of people are not doing this as well. And this you can compare to like be happy, smile-ish. Not like overly happy, but just be a nice person to be around, like smile. Also, like when you're coming home to your dogs, like they're just like, wow, oh, Magnus is home, blah. Like, and you also become happy by that. So not saying that you need to be like a dog that's just so happy to see the human, but in general, just be happy and a nice person to be around. And this is just so easy. Just smile. And a third one that is also very easy. Be energetic in the conversations. Bring some energy in there. Like really, okay, if you're talking about something, speaking about something, use your hands, like be energetic, like this is so insane to speak about. I love speaking about this. Oh, you seem like such a nice guy. Like how did you do that challenge? If you're invested in, they're like also, like they're trying to connect with your energy. So if you're up here and they're down here, they want to come up to your energy level. And if you're both having a genuine like blast in the conversation, like you're hyped up, you're like, oh, then the other person is like, fuck, Magnus is so great speaking to. So bring some energy. Don't just be like, yeah, and how is it going with school? Yeah, okay, that seems nice. No one wants to speak with you then. And then this is the fourth and last one, because this video will get too long. So this is not actually in this book, but everybody is thinking about themselves. So when you're thinking, oh, I wonder what they think about me, I can't go over there and speak to them. People are not thinking that. People are thinking about, do I look awkward? Is my hair sitting okay? Or do I look fat in this shirt? Or do I have a stain? Or I have something in my teeth? They think all of that things. So the biggest part is everyone thinks about themselves. So just come to mind that this is something people do. So when you're thinking about that other people may think something about you, they're not. Like, they're thinking about themselves. So a very good example is, for example, I think it was like 2 months ago, I went to pick some flowers to my girlfriend at the grocery store. And I was just, didn't know what flowers to pick. So there was a lady actually also picking some flowers, and I was like, I can't ask her. But I was like, fuck that, she's don't give a shit. So I asked her, what flowers should I pick? And she was like, oh, I really like these ones. I was like, you are a girl, so you probably know that what flowers you would like. So which one would you like? And she was like, oh, these ones, this is nice. She's not thinking how awkward you are, like you just ask randomly. No, she's thinking maybe, oh, how do I look? Okay, now he wants my opinion. Okay, what about if my opinion is wrong? And she begins to think about herself. She doesn't think about you and if it's awkward or not. So when you're going over and want to speak to someone new, if it's a girl you are maybe have a crush on, and you go over and speak to her, and you're thinking, no, oh, she thinks I'm so awkward, or she thinks I'm such a fool, and I'm so afraid of how I look. She's not thinking that. She's thinking about herself. She's thinking, okay, does she look good today? Does she smell? Does her hair is that juicy, or is it actually looking nice? Or she's thinking all those things. So people are egocentric people. Like humans are egocentric in their just that nature. So they don't think about you. They think about themselves. So this is all of these. I tend to use them every single time. And when you have combined these, you're actually interested in other people, you're smiling, you're being energetic, and you have the mindset that no one is really thinking about you. Then you can just bring them into conversation. And if you say something wrong, it doesn't matter. Also, I think it was the last time I had like the sales call. The girls, like I had sales calls with for an hour, she wanted to take my glass, and she was like doing this. And I just gave her my hand because I thought she was going to say goodbye. and like that situation was so awkward in my old days, but I was just like, sorry, you wanted my glasses, never mind. And I didn't really think more about it because I know that she was probably thinking about herself, that she did something awkward. She's not thinking about me. She's like, fuck, I probably shouldn't have reached my hand out to make us like that. So again, everyone is thinking about themselves. So if you combine these four, this is very, very good start. And if you just like do one of them, fucking smile. Like smile, be happy, energetic. And you're like halfway there. And then these are very, very not very hard to do. This one is a mindset. You're just like thinking, okay, whenever you get in the mind of like, oh, people are thinking about me. No, they're not. They're thinking about themselves. No one can remember when you peed. No one is thinking on this on a daily basis that you peed yourself when you were 10 years old. But you're probably sometimes. You're probably like, oh, these people, like, they probably remember when I was peeing myself when I was 10 years old. No. They think about something stupid they did. So if you do these things, this is a mindset very easy. So every time you're thinking about, oh, someone thinks about me. No, they're not. They're thinking about themselves. Energetic. Just don't be like, just mood up. And if you're smiling, like, you're already there. That's also being energetic. You can just see it from my spirit, like, I'm just doing this and just speaking like, blah, blah, blah. But if I just do smile and actually maybe do like this, it's a totally different vibe to be around. I feel like a more happy person. I feel like more energetic. You actually feel like you want to have a conversation with me. And then last, just be interested in other people. Don't just think about yourself and or what you want to achieve and you want to say, oh, I made so much money or got this job. No, like, no one will listen to you. So listen to people first, and then they will listen to you afterwards. So this is something I have always been, not always been, but I've been better at this the last couple of years, and I hope that answered your question, Rahov. And I really appreciate these comments. And if any one of you actually want to, just learn something else, something specific, please write it down below. Like, please comment, and I will, of course, make a video, because I also need something to speak about in these videos when I make them every single day. So thank you so much.